really hoping that my order for this fabric goes through because, of course, I chose one that was from Joann Fabrics' last year's Halloween collection. It's a very particular canvas one, but I fell in love with it, and that's the direction I'm going. This morning, I went out thrifting with the idea I just wanted some more sweatshirts. So I was thrifting around, and then I found this reclining chair. I have been looking for one here in the Yarn Dungeon. Found this chair. I like how it fits. I just don't like the fabric. So I thought, you know what? This is a great time to try my hand at reupholstery. Why not? The entire chair cost me $12, so I figured, you know, it's a good place to start. And I'm thinking about the fabric that I wanted to use, and I knew there was this one from Joann Fabrics that was like gray with spider webs on it, and I thought there was either roses or skulls. Who knows? There might be a combination of both, but the very first one I saw was this pattern. The only issue is that the store that I was closest to only had 2 yards of fabric in stock, so I'm really running the risk that there's a couple other stores that actually have it in stock, because sometimes it'll say, you know, they have it in stock, but they don't because it hadn't gotten updated from when they got it in, or maybe somebody purchased it a while ago. Whatever, stuff happens like that to me all the time, especially with fabric. It's just very easy to go from they have 2 yards to nope, just kidding, I don't have any, which happened to me with 2 other stores this morning. I ordered 2 yards, they canceled it. The other one I ordered 4 yards, they canceled that. This one gave me the 2 yards, and I have already done a little tiny piece of it, but it's probably the easiest part of the chair, so if I need to change the fabric, that'll be very, very easy to do. Obviously, I was going to start there because, again, I haven't really ever done this. In fairness, I have done reupholstery to chairs, but mainly like kitchen chairs where it just has a seat on the bottom, maybe on the back, nothing where I had to completely pull it apart, measure everything, find out how this is assembled, but I love doing that. I love looking at things, figuring out how it works, pulling it all apart so then I can put it all back together. And this chair so far doesn't seem like it's gonna be crazy. I don't know, I've been watching a lot of YouTube tutorials about how to reupholster specifically a reclining chair, and I found a lot that look very similar to this chair. I did find a manufacturer sticker on the bottom of it, and it said from 2011, and then it had the actual name of the chair, so I typed that in, name of chair, and it pulled up a bunch of things that were very, very similar, if not the exact one. I'm just continuing to work on this blanket now because I'm at a stopping point. Obviously, my limiting factor today is the fabric. I didn't use the entire 2 yards of fabric, but it's getting late, and yeah, it's like a mess right now, but it's a contained mess, and I know tomorrow is going to be much worse. I'm going to pull the bottom part off, which has all of the metal things holding it together. Okay, so here is what I've gotten from this reclining chair. And I hope that you enjoy stuff like this too, because I'm really into it now. So we're going through this whole thing together. I don't know that I'm actually going to get it finished for the weekend, but I'm going to keep chipping away at this thing. Okay, so we have the hand rests. Those are completely detached from the middle section because the whole thing, it's one where you have to use your feet to push it out. So you push back, push forward, that whole middle part slides. So I figured that bottom part would have like this big metal contraption, which I was right, and the only thing that's attaching the sides are these 4 metal bolts, is what it looks like so far. Even with mistakes, I am gonna love this a lot more than the upholstery that was on it right now, which it wasn't terrible, it just did not go with my style. My cats loved it though. They are super annoyed at me that I am just taking this thing apart. Stormy especially had just been sitting on it the entire time that I was binge watching any sort of video that had to do with how to reupholster a reclining chair. Let him enjoy it tonight, sleeping on it, I guess, and then wake up bright and early. The order that I placed for the fabric, I ended up measuring everything that I could. So average that I've been seeing is anywhere between 8 and 10 yards of fabric. I figured to be on the safe side, I would do 10, though there are a lot of other canvas options. There's another one that has skulls with red flowers, but I kind of wanted a piece that was going to be just a staple, so then I could change up the pillows and the blankets that go in it all the time. Green neon, pink neon crochet blankets on there. I can also do black and orange if I would have just picked something just to have it, and then went through all this work and realized, you know what? I would have loved it so much better with the spider webs and black roses on it. All the stores were closed when I put the order in. They don't open until like 9 or 10 tomorrow, I think. Probably 10 since it's Sunday. Which means I have plenty of time to take this thing apart and also measure everything. Once I get all the pieces off, I'm going to feel a little bit more confident of my 10 yards of fabric. I've been debating whether or not I want black piping around the arm handles. I think it looks really nice. I just haven't found anything yet, so that would be another thing that I would have to order. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one. Hopefully, I can get this chair done, and then this will be the blanket, very first crochet blanket that goes on it. I mean, especially with the gray, black, and little bit of purple, that's going to be so beautiful on it. And it's a giant one too. This is a part of any sort of project where you really have to trust the process, because that just looks like a pile of garbage right now. I know the parts and how it's supposed to go back together, and I'm still struggling here a little bit. Okay, so I got both of the handles off. This was an ordeal, okay? There were a lot more screws into it than I thought. 4, I thought there was only 4. Yeah, I think there was 6, but I couldn't see them from the angle, so I was getting a little bit frustrated. And this part right here, there was one, and I just fully ripped it off. Yeah. You know, this is the thing. We're going through this together, so I'm going to show you everything. Yeah, that was my bad. I just kept thinking that there is no way, like this has to be it. These are the only things holding it together. Spoiler alert, if it is causing a little bit of resistance, it's probably because there is something still holding it together. But this is why I'm calling it good for today, because I'm getting to the point where everything's just making me a little bit frustrated. And I'm like, okay, why is this not working? We're just going to force it. And that's not what I want to do. So far into this project without completely destroying anything, and I want to keep it that way. But okay, so here's what this looks like. So this is, there we go, that's how it goes up. I took so many pictures and videos, really, of just every single part that I took apart. Video. How does it line up? How does it set up? How does the fabric look? What are all the things that I need to do? Honestly, the fabric or the stuffing inside doesn't look that bad. This and the foam right here, not terrible. That was obviously destroyed by me because I was trying to get that screw out and I just could not. And here is the piping that I'm considering doing this in black. Once I pulled everything apart, it seems relatively easy, and I think I've watched 20 plus videos now of how to do this piping for any sort of upholstery, like not just reclining chairs, but everything and anything. Not that bad. For the most part, I don't think I'm gonna have to do much sewing. Like, I thought I was gonna have to make the form of everything, which is why I've been saving all the pieces. These are getting saved so that way I can just measure it on the fabric that I have now and go from there. And then I'm just gonna add like 2 or 3 inch allowance on there just so I know that it has enough room to actually fold over. There are a couple of parts on here that I am gonna do a little bit differently too. Some parts didn't have fabric covering all the way. It's probably just, you know, manufacturing, they're making a bunch of them, and if you don't see that part, why do you need to have extra fabric on there? But for me, it's just gonna be easier to wrap the entire thing. So like right on the bottom there, you can see like this part was covered with this thin black paper. I'm just gonna fold the fabric all the way over and then staple across, pull this around. Theoretically, everything should be good. One thing that I highly suggest if you are interested in doing any sort of upholstery, get this little thing. Its only purpose is to pull out staples, and it says it also pulls out nails too, which I did try it on a couple of my walls. I had a couple to redo where I was hanging up my pictures. It works so freaking well. I think it cost me $5. I mean, I knew there were tools out there, but I didn't know, like I just kind of thought I could use everything that I have here, right? Because I'm only doing a reclining chair. I'm just doing one. I don't need to get all these extra tools. If I never do another reupholstery job in my entire life, like this was still worth it. And I highly doubt that's gonna happen because I'm having a lot of fun with this and I'm already thinking about the other pieces of my house that I can revamp and make it Halloween and spooky-fied. Oh yeah, the fabric. 2 out of the 3 stores that I ordered at canceled on me. I was getting a little bit nervous this morning, but no worries. The 3rd store ended up having actually more than I needed, so I have 11 yards of fabric. That should be more than enough. I've been measuring the pieces as I go. The one thing that I thought was going to be the deciding factor is this back part, because it's like, I mean, obviously that's a lot of fabric, but I'm totally going to have enough. I think I would have even been fine with 8. And if I have extra, that's totally fine. At this point, I just wanted to make sure that I have it. There's a lot of detail too. There's little bits of spiders in the spider web. Look how beautiful that is. It's gonna go with freaking everything in my house. Like I could have it up here in my movie room. I could have it down. Yeah, I just started taking it apart in the movie room. I have so much more room in the yarn dungeon, and I don't know, I just started doing it up here. My partner was doing some stuff with lighting around here, so I was like, oh, I just want to be up here and chit chat with you as I'm doing this. So now I actually have to get this finished like as soon as possible, because right over here on the other side is my movie area. Ran into another little problem this morning. There are these tiny little screws attaching the bottom part to the middle part, and none of the tools that I have is working to get them out. So I ordered a new tool for it, but the only issue is that it's not going to get here until tomorrow. So now I'm forced to wait again. I need a little bit of a distraction right now. And then I remembered that we are coming up to the end of January, which means our haunted book club. We need to choose a new book or a couple of new books to vote on. Typically, we have 2 that we vote on. It just feels like anything more and it gets a little overwhelming. So we normally pick 2. Love haunted house books. And yes, there is a brand new haunted house book this month that came out and I was really interested in it. Okay, what is it called? Honeysuckle and Bone. You also have to keep in mind that I am doing a giant granny square for every single book that we read this year. So the picture, I am putting a little emphasis on it this year. Okay, so this month's was The Stranger Upstairs, and that was a blue and purple. Not that they need to match or coordinate or go together in any way, shape, or form. Honestly, the more different they are, I'm gonna like that more, because every single book, I want it to have strong colors that I can find some sort of yarn that I have. And I'm using all of Muse 2320's yarn that I already have. There's a bunch of one hank yarn that I have laying around. That's what this was. I have no idea what these 2 colors are for, but this was super perfect for the title that I had. And then this one, we have a lot of greens. There's a little bit of purple and yellow. There's our first option. I'm never gonna get tired of a haunted house story. And that's what it is categorized as. Also, what else do we have? Very first thing is horror, multicultural, young adult. Came out January 14th of this year, and it was my, what I'm looking forward to for 2025. On the run from her own dark secrets, a teen girl becomes a nanny for a prestigious family on their Jamaican estate, where she quickly discovers even paradise may be haunted. Also, I need a new cozy murder mysteries. Been listening to a lot of audiobooks, and cozy murder mysteries, yes, those are my favorite. If it has witches, cats, amateur sleuthing, like that combination, that trope, I never get tired of that either. Our second option is Our Winter Monster. And this one, I think, comes out at the end of January. Yeah, January 28th, but it feels more like a Halloween type of vibe. Maybe. I don't know entirely, but just from reading on here, it's about a couple that gets stranded in a blizzard. And the couple is having some issues. I don't know, I think they said they went on a getaway. For the last year, Holly and Brian have been out of sync, so they're going to this place to just try to rekindle their love for each other, but then they get stranded in a blizzard, supernatural though, and winter, because it does say they find themselves not alone Definitely like the colors for the cover. I mean, that would be super easy for me to put a square together. White, black, and red. I have so much of that from Muse 2320. And I do have some fluffy white yarn too that I have no idea what I was going to use that for. Right here. It's a really bouncy yarn. I had a couple of these that I made some hats from. I'm not sure if Muse 2320 has this yarn anymore. It was kind of like a specialty thing that she launched last year. I made a ton of different beanies. They're really light, really bouncy. I don't know if I'm going to block them throughout the year or should I just wait and block it all at once, then seam it together. That seems like a lot to do in December when there's a bunch of things going on already. If you want to vote on which book that we are going to be reading together, you can find the poll that's going to be on Fable. I think it goes for like 74 hours, 78 hours, something like that. And then when you're over on Fable, you can join our Haunted Book Club, chit chat with everything there. We have a lot of good chit chat of pretty much every single chapter of what was happening there. And that's the thing that I like about that one is like, you're not ever going to get a spoiler unless you want that spoiler because you actually have to click on the chapter. So if you're not all the way finished, even by the end of January, it still won't get ruined for you. You can just go to the end of it when it's done. All right, girls, I'm gonna keep working on my blanket tonight and just be waiting by my mailbox for this tool so I can keep on working to make the absolute best spooky Halloween chair ever. I'm just really hyping it up so that way when I have these moments where I have to stop and I can't keep working on it, I'm just like, remember, it's gonna be so cool, it's gonna be awesome, you're gonna love it. We just gotta do these little things. So have a super spooky rest of your night and I will see you in my next video.